Alright, so today I'm going to be going over this black-green Tortured Existence deck um, and the replays of the Pauper Classic Tuesdays that I played last night. Just going over play-by-play and the deck list and why I made a bunch of the choices that I did. Let me pull up the preview window here. So, I don't know if there's a standard black-green list, but this is pretty close to what you might expect to see from a black-green Tortured Existence list. Got our land base first. We've got just one cycling land to the Barren Moor, two Tranquil Thicket Cyclers, and three Evolving Wilds, one Bajuka Bog, that's kind of a miser, two Plain Forests, just to fetch with the Evolving Wilds if I need to. Didn't go with the Ash Barrens plan because we're really mana hungry, and tapping one mana on our turns to cycle is just not where we want to be. So I went with the Evolving Wilds instead of Ash Barrens. There's an argument to be made for Ash Barrens, but I think just with how mana hungry it is, and you'll kind of see it with how I play the deck in the replays, it's just I can almost never afford to just tap one mana on my turn or on opponent's turns often. Only got two Golgari Rot Farms. A lot of decks run four, but that makes you really susceptible to like a Dinrova Horror, Capsize, those kind of effects. I mean, it's just it's too much of a tempo loss if that kind of thing happens. You just lose the game on the spot. So, but I did go with two Rot Farms because they are good for like bouncing thickets or bog or more that you had to play early. So that's why I've only got two of these, though. It's just the tempo loss hurts too much. Then we got four Jungle Hollows and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 swamps, looks like. Not quite sure. Obviously, we've got the namesake card of Tortured Existence. And then for the other one drops, we've got a Dead Weight, just kind of a miser's thing. And run this instead of Disfigure because Commune with the Gods can find it. And then three Fume Spitters because I was expecting a meta full of like Delver. So Fume Spitter, or Delver or Fairies, Fume Spitter is really good against them. And you'll see that I did play against two Fairy decks, so this was obviously kind of a win here. There's also kind of your only way to really stop Elves, because Cryptwights gets the line on turn 3, and that's just too slow to beat Elves. Then we've got a Thought Picker Winch as one of our sacrifice outlets, and two Spore Frogs as far as the other one drops. Spore Frogs just to stop the aggro decks, heavy aggro stuff like Hexproof or red deck wins, that kind of thing. The other major sack outlet I've got here is Lampad and Death Vigil, and this one's really good. As far as sack outlets go, I think this is the best, and I might actually just ditch the Thought Picker Witch and go with a Lampad, with an extra Lampad instead. And the reason being that it's a 1/3, and that's really it. I mean, I want a sacrifice outlet that it can block, and this guy does it very well. 1/3, blocking ninjas is a big game, and if your opponent spends like a bolt or something on it instead, then that's fine, because then they're not bolting your Crypt Rats or your Fiends that you use. And then speaking of Fiends, I was really, like I said, expecting like a blue heavy meta, so Mesmeric Fiend is really good here. And then especially with the sack outlets, you can just exile stuff forever with the Mesmeric Fiend. And, if you can catch any various deck with their pants down, tapped out, like you can grab like a Mystical Teachings, Pulse of Marasa, Dinrova Horror, Demonic Wall. There's lots of things you can grab with Demonic Fiend or Mesmeric Fiend and just exile stuff forever. And with the Witch, the Lampad, and the Crypt Rats, you can usually get this exile permanent effect going on. And you'll see what happens here, and I'll go over a little bit more if you don't know the thing, but basically with Lampad or with Mesmeric Fiend's ability on the stack, you kill it some way. That's Fume Spitter, it could be Lampad, it could be Crypt Rats, but either way, with its ability on the stack, you kill it, and then Then it's leave the battlefield effects triggers, but it hasn't exiled anything yet. So when it exiles, then that leave trigger resolves first, and then the exile trigger resolves. But you'll be able to permanently exile something instead of just having a card underneath the Mesmeric Fiend. I mean, the main reason to run green in general is for Commune with the Gods. It just helps you find Tortured Existence, and it's the best way you can find it. It's a 5-card impulse, but you can always get the the Tortured Existence. And the other kind of reason to run green are these mana creatures, which are Chilling Tree Folk and Crocent Tusker. And both of these allow you to aggressively dredge, because you'll be able to you'll be able to still make your land drops if you dredge one of these, or you can grab it back to Tortured Existence, sacrifice it again, Tortured Existence back to your hand, etc., etc. It's an infinite loop, and it just means that you're always going to hit your land drops once you've got Tortured Existence online. And one of these in the graveyard with a dredger. So your dredgers are, I've got 2 Stinkweeds and 3 Golgari Brown Scales. I might actually go up to 4 Brown Scales and find a cut somewhere. Burn and Heavy Aggression can be pretty rough, and you really need to find 2 Brown Scales to keep that kind of thing at bay. Right now I'm still going 3, but there's a possibility I'm going to get 4 in the future. Fairy Macabre is really good in this meta, because you're going to be able to stop the Mystic Sanctuary Deprive loops, which Thought Picker also helps with that. If you can stop the Mystic Sanctuary Deprive loops or the Tragic Lesson loops or whatever, just by interfering with their graveyard. And that's those kind of decks, the Tragic Lesson decks or the Sanctuary decks, they're going to beat you by just generating endless card advantage. So you pretty much have to play Fairy Macabre in this meta if you're going to play this kind of deck. And I went with 2 in the main. I used to have 1 on the side, but I kind of need more room in the sideboard, really, because you really want Fairy Macabre in like those kind of matchups. If you don't have it, you just lose. So you have to like aggressively dredge, get Fairy Macabre in your hand, and then be able to recur it. And it's not hard to recur these kind of things. 3 Grave Scrabblers, because they're kind of one of the big engines of the deck, obviously. And once you're able to loop Grave Scrabbler, it's just kind of it's an endless value engine, especially with all your sacrifice outlets. You'll be able to like grab Grave Scrabbler, grabbing a Fiend, and then maybe another Crypt Rats, or even a Brown Scale, to like Tree Folks, etc., etc. And then you can just sacrifice Grave Scrabbler, do it all over again. Faceless Butcher is the other like Mesmeric Fiend type card, and there's only 1 of in the main. Just want to be able to deal with like random fatties that come down, Ulamog's Crushers, or a big Elvish Vanguard, something like that. And it's not often you get to do the sacrifice with its ability on the stack thing with the Faceless Butcher, because usually those kinds of things you're going to want to just exile it really quick. Things like a big Carrion Feeder, big Elvish Vanguard, just kind of gives you an out to those in the main, because Crypt Rats won't quite get there most of the time. Ideally you just fog lock them forever, but sometimes that can't work for whatever reason. And then sometimes you just need to get rid of that creature pronto before they fling it at you or something. And for the rest of the curve, we got a Horror of the Broken Lands. This is just a cycler. I kind of want to go up to a second one of these, but I got to find room. They close out the game really fast, and most of the time, honestly, they get themselves in the yard, and that's really all I ask of him. Get himself in the yard and draw me a card. And the last card is the Crocent Tusker, which is, as I mentioned earlier, it's really good. It's card advantage always, and it's going to help you fill your hand with lands, which you're super mana hungry, so the lands are really necessary. And once this guy gets online, or the Tree Folk get online, along with a Dredger and a Tortured Existence, you've just got an inevitability engine that most decks can't really deal with. And that's kind of the main deck. like I said, the biggest engines in the deck are the Grave Scrabbler and then the Sacrifice Outlets combined with Fiend or Butcher to just kind of get you endless card advantage and endless ways to disrupt them. You can even just always be grabbing Fume Spitters back, and along with your Mesmeric Fiends, and loop it that way. There's just a lot of ways to recur the sacrifice effect to disrupt your opponent. As far as the sideboard goes, let's move this preview over here. On the sideboard, we've got the 3 dead weights just for early aggression. They're also really, really necessary against like Affinity, just to try and get ATOG to deal with ATOG. Raven's Crime, and combined with Thorn of the Black Rose to have additional discard effects for heavy control decks. So I wouldn't bring these cards in against like Delver, but a Raven's Crime and Thorn against like Tron is really, really good. Get an additional Spore Frog for the heavy aggro decks, and Caustic Caterpillar plus Wickerball Elder for any artifact or enchantment decks that I'm going to run into. Chainer's Edict for Hexproof. Faceless Butcher just as an extra way to deal with fatties. And Mold Shambler is kind of I just kind of added this last minute, and just another way to deal with artifacts, enchantments, or even just blow up lands. It didn't come into play this game or this match, this run, but I think just having a way to deal with artifacts, lands, or enchantments is good. This guy's a bit mana intensive too. We're only running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 green sources, but I was able to cast him, I think, in one match. So I don't know. Yeah, remains to be seen. You'll usually be able to get the lands you need to cast him with the Tree Folk or the Tusker. So hasn't came to an issue too much. Area Oofs is a really sweet card. It's almost always just going to deal with 2 fairies, and in the meantime, it can just block a ninja before you sacrifice it to kill a fairy. So, like this card a lot, and I wish I'd been able to play it in a match to show you how sweet it is. But it forces your Delver opponent to play a hard counter spell, because they're never going to be able to counter a 5-drop with a fairy, typically. So yeah, lots of anti-fairy tech in this list, but like I said, I was kind of expecting it based on the meta that I saw in last week's. How many people are playing Delver, that I wanted to be able to heavily tech against Delver and other control decks. Yeah, I guess that's about it. I guess we can go ahead and go to the replays now, and I'll show you basically how this deck played out. Let's see here. So match 1 was against Time Mage. I believe he was on blue-red fairies. So he won the die roll. Obviously this hand's a keep. This was it's got a Fume Spitter, Tortured Existence, Lampad, Commune with the Gods. This is like an ideal hand. So this is definitely a keep for me. But he leads off the Terramorphic Expanse, which generally tells me that it's probably going to be some kind of a Delver deck. So turn 1, I'm definitely just going to slam Tortured Existence. I drew another one, so it doesn't matter too much. I mean, I could have played a Jungle Hollow there, but in this case, it's best to just get Tortured Existence out early. You don't want any shenanigans like Force Spike plus Foil or something like that. He fetches an island, and then fetches, I think, another island. No, yeah. So he fetches another island there, plays a fairy. This is a pretty easy case of just jam a Fume Spitter, kill the fairy. And I mean, there's a case to be made for waiting to kill the fairy until he attacks, but I don't assume that my opponents are dumb, so I don't think he's going to try and play another Fairy Miscreant with the Fume Spitter on board. So I just get rid of it now. That way I can kind of F6. There's a lot of times where I need to just F6 to save myself time. He didn't play anything, so I'm just going to lead off the creature that I don't care about, which is the Lampad. Then play a land and say go. He accumulates knowledge. Alright, so here, in my mind, I'm debating whether I just jam out Stinkweed or Crypt Rats. Ultimately, I decide that I need some lands, and in order to get some lands, I think I need something like a Tusker or Tilling Tree Folk off of this commune. So I think I'm going to commune with gods here. Obviously get in the beats. And if this gets countered, it doesn't matter to me too much because I've got another commune, or I can just, ship turn. He countered it, so that's cool. I'm okay with him using a counterspell because that opens the way for like Stinkweed or Crypt Rats. Draw another land here, and here I make another play where I'm just communing. Do I commune here? No. I play Crypt Rats. Right. My idea is I want to stop a spell stutter into turn with the Crypt Rats if he does that. He draws too many cards, discards the Ninja. I draw a Faceless Butcher, so I think this turn I'm going to commune. And here he jams out a Spell Stutter and blocks the Crypt Rats, which is perfectly fine. I would probably use the Crypt Rats to kill Spell Stutter anyway. So now I'm going to discard a Faceless Butcher, get back Crypt Rats, and replay Crypt Rats. Like, the Fairy decks have a real issue with Crypt Rats because they can't really interact with it well. Now I'm going to commune again. Still digging for, like, just any kind of a... any kind of a way to get lands. Just going to jam out a Fume Spitter here if he tries to Spell Stutter and then a Crypt Rat. And just get in with... I decided not to attack the Crypt Rats there because... that was a misplay, honestly. So... I did not run out Crypt Rats there. Or did not attack with Crypt Rats, and I should have. So Stinkweed gets back another Fume Spitter, and I'm just trying to make him very low on options. Because if I've got two Fume Spitters and a Crypt Rat out, there's really just not much they can do. I go ahead and dredge with this Stinkweed, and I find the Crows and Tusker, which is perfect. So I think at this point I'm probably going to Stinkweed the Crypt Rat, or Stinkweed the Tusker, and then cycle Tusker to get a swamp, and then play a Fume Spitter. And I even got a Tilling Tree Folk, which is awesome. Now he's going to exclude it. Yeah. And like, if he's excluding my Fume Spitter, I am really happy with that. So I choose not to dredge here. There's no reason to. I've already got a creature in my hand, the Tree Folk, so I don't need to dredge. Happened to draw a brown scale, but I probably actually should have dredged right there. Make the smart attack now, and I get in with Crypt Rats. Because if he wants to Spell Stutter, then I've got a free Tree Folk that I can play. And then, obviously, I'm going to jam out the heck am I doing here? Oh. Let's grab another Tusker. Rather than risk the Tree Folk getting countered, I think I'd decide to go with the Tusker. Because he can't counter the cycling of the Tusker. So at this point, it's just about lands. And he's effectively locked out of the game now. I'm just always going to get a creature back. I'm just going to activate Crypt Rats here. And the only way I can lose is if he gets a ninja up and starts defending it somehow. So I choose to dredge the brown scale here. Doesn't matter which one I choose to dredge, brown scale or stinkweed. Probably should have dredged the stinkweed because I was at a pretty high life total, but doesn't matter too much. But now that I've got a Grave Scrabbler in my graveyard, I can do all kinds of shenanigans. I've got a Grave Scrabbler, I've got a Sack Outlet, I've got Tuskers, I've got endless lands. It's just, yeah, there's not a lot of ways you can win here. Yep, grab back the Grave Scrabbler. Just gonna do it main phase because I want to grab like a Mesmeric Fiend or something probably. I don't remember what I grabbed exactly. Yeah, Mesmeric Fiend and Fume Spitter. And that's that game. Game 2. This hand's another perfectly keepable hand. I need one more land to really get online, but if he anytime he taps out, which he's going to have to on the first couple turns to really start putting pressure on me, anytime he taps out, I'm just going to play Tortured Existence and win. Because I've got basically everything I need in this hand. For sideboarding, I took out the Spore Frogs and the Faceless Butcher, and I put in some dead weights. I think. What else did I bring? Oh yeah, and I brought in the Airy Oofs. I also took out the Horror Broken Lands. Horror Broken Lands is not very good against them. They're going to be able to. They're going to counter my creatures, so I don't need the graveyard to win against them. So I took out the Horror, 2 Spore Frogs, and then I brought in 3 dead or 2 Horror, Faceless Butcher, 2 Spore Frogs, and then I brought in some dead weights, the Airy Oofs. Run 2 dead weights and Airy Oofs, and what else did I bring in? I don't remember. Something else. I know it's really specific, but it was something else. Anyway, lead off the Jungle Hollow. And he's getting value off these Fairy Miscreants, which it's good for him. But he tapped out, so obviously I'm going to take this opportunity to just get Tortured Existence out and keep developing my land base. I don't have a lot going on here, but he keeps tapping out, which means that I've got free reign to just take control of the game. Now he is just getting a ton of value off the fairies and the ninja, but I've got a way to I've got a way to deal with the ninja, and then I draw another way to deal with one of the fairies. So pretty good for me. And now I can just endlessly loop the Fume Spitter plus something else. And it won't take much. He gets in with both. I'll kill one of them. He doesn't have another ninja here, which is great for me. Of course, he has another Fairy Miscreant, which is not great for me. So then at this point, I think I go for the Tusker line. Sorry, cycling Tusker, grab a Swamp, grab a Fume Spitter. Or, yeah. Grab a Swamp, play a Fume Spitter. This kind of plays into his, into like spell stutters, but just making him answer every single turn of what I'm doing is important. Because it seems like he's the beatdown, but in reality, like, if he doesn't answer me, then it's kind of like I'm the beatdown. Because he just has to keep on answering what I'm doing. Here I choose to play a Swamp because I'm going to Scrabbler. So I play a Fume Spitter trying to bait out the like a spell stutter. Didn't happen. So then I just pass the turn and I'm going to Scrabble on his turn. This makes him use mana. And with the Torch Resistance, I grab a Fume Spitter. Now, if he wants to Ninja, he's basically going to have to tap out, which leaves me an opening to get another Scrabbler down, to play Fume Spitters, etc., etc. And I start dredging because I'm actually pretty low on life, relatively speaking. So, and I've got lands. It's not a big deal to dredge here. So we just play Fume Spitter. We bounce the Barrenmoor. And then we're going to wait to Scrabble on his turn. I'm doing it this way too because, so here you'll see he tried to Sanctuary back a Counterspell, but the Fairy Macabre disrupted that. So I do it this way so that he has to spend a bolt to kill this Fume Spitter. I'm going to block the Ninja and then kill a Fairy. Oh, actually, I'm going to try and Grave Scrabble to block the Ninja. I think he counters it here. Yeah, so he counters the Grave Scrabbler, but I'm still going to block with the Fume Spitter. So here's kind of a mistake. I should have grabbed like a Fume Spitter. Well, actually, no, I've got a Stinkweed in the yard, so I grabbed the Brown Scale. I think I dredged the Stinkweed. He misses with Augur. Alright. So I dredged a Stinkweed here. Grab myself a Grave Scrabble. I'm all doing this now in my main phase. He's only got one card in hand. And if that's a counterspell, it's fine. Torch Existence grabs another Grave Scrabbler. And Grave Scrabbler grabs a Fume Spitter. And I do just play out the Barrenmoor here because, as you can see, I'm kind of getting mana choked. Like, I've got I had 7 mana, but I was still mana choked to do everything I wanted to do. So now he's going to go for a Tragic Lesson, and he's going to try and buy back the Tragic Lesson, but I'm going to get Fairy Macabre back and get rid of that Tragic Lesson and Counterspell. Just getting rid of this value engine for them means that their deck is just, it's ninjas and fairies if you get rid of their value engine. Yeah, Fume Spitter just going to get rid of that other fairy, dredge up another Brown Scale. We've got the game pretty much locked down now. Yeah, he's going to try and counter the Grave Scrabbler, but it's not going to matter because I can just replay it. Try again. Getting back both my Fairy Macabres here, just in case he had another Sanctuary he's trying to draw, or if he tries to Tragic Lesson or something. Doesn't look like he has much going on. So probably just going to dredge again. Yep. And Crypt Rat's going in the yard is good for me. That means I can finally start dealing with his creatures. But there's no rush currently, so I'm just going to build up my land base. Just jam out the Crypt Rats. Expecting a counterspell here. And that's fine, but I'm just going to rebuy it next turn. Doing it again and again. So he plays Relic here, and it's kind of a pain, because I didn't sideboard, assuming he'd bring in Relic. Like, a lot of Delver decks don't have Relic, and it's not particularly great against Mina, but him not popping the Relic there just gave me a lot of options to do what I wanted to do. If he'd have popped it there, he'd have cut me off of a lot of options, because all I would have had in my hand then was the Macabre, the Thicket, and the Tusker. Now, I mean, I could still obviously win, but he basically lets me dredge again, and then in doing that, he's just giving me more access to his. Because when he tries to pop this, basically that's when I can grab the Crypt Rats or whatever I need to keep my hand, or to keep my options open. But he gave me card advantage by letting me get the Tusker back, and then he let me dredge even to get another creature back in my hand. So I think it was a misplay by him, or misunderstanding of how this deck works. So I'm just going to keep on taking advantage of the advantage that he's gifted me, and just keep on filling my graveyard. Like, eventually he's going to have to deal with what I'm doing. At this point, I just play out the brown scale, because just to give myself an additional blocker in case he tries to bolt my Scrabblers. And, you know, blocker needs an answer, because or brown scale needs an answer, because he can always just block Ninja. I'm just exiling lands or stuff I can't get back from my graveyard, because it doesn't matter. I'll draw a Lampad, which is another great blocker for the Ninja. So I'm just going to jam that out. And jam out the Stinkweed. Building up a board so I can start attacking, which I do. Start putting some pressure on him. And cycle the Thicket. Just get myself a Forest. I'm leaving the Macabre in my hand here almost under most circumstances, because I cannot lose the Macabre and let them have the card advantage from Mystic Sanctuary. I choose not to dredge there and draw a Mesmeric Fiend, which is good. This is a pretty good draw. So just get in the attacks again. The same attacks. I think he chooses to block both this time. Maybe it's next turn. Yeah, so he chooses to block both this time. Which is fine by me, because now when he goes to pop this Relic, I'm just going to get Scrabbler back, and then use Scrabbler and rebuy any creatures I want. So again, like, his lack of use on the Relic the turn he played it was a big mistake. Now he's going to bolt, I think. Oh no, he fires my. So this is an even bigger mistake, because now he puts both of my Scrabblers in the yard, and I've just got a ton of mana to do what I want here. When he goes to pop this Relic, I'm just going to rebuy like 4 creatures, because I've got 2 Scrabblers in the yard now. So he accumulates knowledge once, and then I think he tries to do it again, so then I Fairy Macabre. Yeah. I don't want him to draw 2 cards, so he's going to Fairy Macabre here to get rid of one of the AKs. And then he spreads the Stinkweed, and that's fine. So we'll just sacrifice the Stinkweed to the Lampad, make him lose 1 life, and I gain 1 life. Okay, so now he goes to exile all cards from graveyards. So here's where the shenanigans happen. So discard Mesmeric Fiend, grabbing Grave Scrabbler. And then discard Grave Scrabbler, grabbing Grave Scrabbler. Then I get a Crypt Rats back. Then I get another Grave Scrabbler activation. And I get back another Crypt Rats. And what else do I get back? I don't remember. Fairy Macabre, probably. Yeah. So I just had a lot of options there. So his Augur of Bolas hits, and it hits a Scred, I believe, yeah. But at this point, his Screds and removal don't matter. And I can even Mesmeric Fiend to get rid of the Scred. I mean, what does he do against us? There's basically nothing he can do. He does this, and I'll play Crypt Rats and activate it for 1. Just kill both of his Augurs. Well, I sacrifice my Scrabbler first to Lampad, and then I Crypt Rats for 1. And then I can just rebuy Scrabbler. And then Scrabbler to rebuy Crypt Rats. And he is digging for some kind of an answer, but his deck doesn't have any more answers. So here, it's Augur Bolas going to deprive, but that just doesn't matter. Like, he can just deprive my Crypt Rats or my Scrabbler. It doesn't matter anymore. Block this game out. Oh, I went for the Mesmeric Theme because he has to deprive it. And then when he does, I just get back Scrabbler, and then get back Mesmeric Fiend, and or get back Crypt Rats and Fairy Macabre. Blocks, I play Crypt Rats, and Crypt Rats for 1 to get rid of his Augur. And that's the game. He concedes. So let's see here. Match 2 was against Kid with Gun, which is a grind fest. I'm actually going to stop recording for a little bit. Need to grab a bite to eat, but I will be back and go over match 2 in a bit.